So today we are going to talk about how to negotiate a massive raise. When I say massive raise, I'm not talking about 1%, 2%, 3% a year. I'm talking 10, 15, 20%, maybe even 50% and above. So before we talk about it, hit the like button or hit the subscribe button. Hit both actually, okay, if you're watching this. And if you're coming from the podcast, just, rate, review, and subscribe. It's great. Help us grow. So let's talk about this. So when you think about getting a raise, I'm going to think about when I used to work full-time for people. So when I used to work full-time for people, I would always think about, man, I'm doing so much right now. I'm overworked right now. I'm really working hard. I really deserve a raise. Because in the moment, it's like, dude, I'm putting in all this effort. Like, I deserve a raise. So, okay, that's fair. I think in the heat of the moment, I think we all tend to feel like that. I've definitely felt like that before. Now that I sit on the other side of the table where we have great team members, amazing team members, I will sometimes get that attitude from people as well. And in general, here's what I'm going to say. In general, when you're working for someone, when you're an employee, you are almost never going to get paid what you think you are worth. This is just reality. I never thought I was paid what I was worth. And that's probably true. If you really want to get paid what you're worth, you should probably start a business, because at that point there's no cap, okay? Or you can do a kick-ass job as a salesperson that have no cap as well. So let's say a really good VP of sales working at a software company, they might be making perhaps 150K, 200K base, maybe even 250, 300K in base. And their incentives will be double that, right? So they could, if they're making 300, it could be 600K or so, or it can be uncapped. Because salespeople are very driven by money. It's a good scorekeeper for them, and they're very competitive people. So look, if you want to make a lot of money, probably go into sales or go into something where you can be an early partner at a company where you can get equity, or just start your own business, right? Which is kind of similar to the equity piece. But start your own business. That's how you're gonna have the most upside. So that being said, you came to this video to learn about how you can negotiate, a massive raise. So let's talk about that. So when you go into a negotiation, you have to think about not just what's in it for me, but what's in it for the other person. What's in it for the other party? Like, what benefit are they going to get? So again, you might be saying, hey, look, I put in all this effort right now, and I'm working really hard, and I'm doing things that are above kind of what my current responsibilities are. That's great. So what you do is you say, okay, Mr. Boss or Mrs. Boss, based on, here are the things that I've done. So you go out off a fact, right? So you might say, let's say you're a marketing manager, and then your job was to just really manage paid advertising, okay? But in the last 12 months, not only have you managed paid advertising, but you started doing work around SEO. You started working on email. You started working on conversion rate optimization. Not only that, you recruited 2 or 3 people as well, and you trained them up. That to me is going above and beyond. So you list all these things out, and you say, okay, look, I'm just gonna go with Mrs. Boss now. Mrs. Boss, I'm getting paid $50,000 right now, and based on all the things that I'm doing, I believe I'm probably more at a marketing director level. And let's say I live in, I don't know, I'm just gonna make play stuff right now. Let's say I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. So a marketing director gets paid about $80,000 a year, okay, based on salary estimates. And here are, I'm going to pull up data as well. So let's go. You might go to salary.com, you might go to glassdoor.com, and you'll pull up some marketing director salaries, okay? And say, look, a lot of these responsibilities I'm doing, I'm more like a marketing director right now, and I'm getting paid 50, but the average is around 80K or so, which is that's a 60% increase from what you're making. So you can start to make that argument, right? It's like, hey, look, I'm actually doing more than was asked. And by the way, okay, I'm not even going to talk about what salary I want. I'm just showing you some numbers right now. I'm doing this. Here's what the average salaries are. But I've actually taken the liberty as well, because I actually want to go even beyond marketing director, and I would like to do these and these things, right? These are initiatives that I would like to tackle. And here's the benefit. I think it's the benefit that the company is going to receive from me tackling these initiatives. So here's the great thing. You are coming to the boss, and you are saying, hey, look, I want something, but look, I have found other problems in the company, and I have solutions for those, and I am volunteering to solve those problems, okay? So when the boss is listening to you, it's like, man, that sounds really good. That's a weight off my shoulders. And if you can paint an even bigger picture, you say, hey, you know what? If I do these 3 initiatives or these other initiatives, in addition to all the work that I'm already doing right now that I've already taken on, I think if we're successful, it's going to add about $500,000 in benefit to the company. You've taken the liberty and you've gone out of your way to do that calculation. Fantastic. All right. So, okay, at that point, it's like, oh, wait, like this person's already doing way more and they're volunteering to give me some $500,000 upside. Even if there's a 50% chance they'll be successful, that's still $250,000, right? So $250,000 in potential upside, and they're going to give you a raise. And let's say you're asking for the raise to go from, 50 to 80 or so. Wow, you know what? I'm going to be paying 30 grand for potentially $250,000 plus I get this person's really motivated to do even more. They want to go even beyond marketing director. That sounds like a good deal, because when you go into negotiation, it's about, what is the other party going to get? And so if you can make that other party happy, then, you're going to get what you want. Okay. And at that point, it's, you're dancing back and forth, and then you can have conversations. But, the way I painted it, it's a steal for this boss to promote you from marketing manager to marketing director and give you a raise from 50K, okay, to 80K. That's a 60% raise right there. But you see what I'm doing here? It's what happens with most people, and I've experienced this a lot, is they don't think when they come into negotiation. It's like, I deserve a lot more. And what's crazy is sometimes they might go into we have these self-review programs. They might rate their performance like a 9 or a 10. And then what happens is their team actually rates them like a 1 or 2 or a 3 out of 10. And it's just totally disconnected from reality, right? But the problem is because they keep thinking about them. They keep thinking about how they perceive themselves. They don't look at what is reality. How are people actually perceiving them? What does it look like? What is the actual impact of the work that they've done, right? It doesn't help to say, I deserve this, okay? Like, it doesn't, I deserve this. Okay, why? Because I deserve it. Like, that's bad, and that's also a bad attitude too. But the way you approach that conversation with just saying, look, here's what I've done so far. Again, I'm just reviewing real quick. Here's what I've done so far. Here's what I'd like to do. Here's the comps in terms of the market rates right now, okay? And then you make them, and then here's what I think, here's additional upside it's going to be for the company if we actually do this. Like, that shows your boss that you're not just a C player or a B player that's all about themselves, right? It's important to think about yourself, but you got to think about the other person first. That's why it's better to help other people get what they want first, and you'll get whatever you want. That's a quote from Zig Ziglar. And if you continue to operate like that, you'll be good. But if you threw a hissy fit and you're pouting because you think you deserve something, but you never made a good argument in the first place, and the reality is maybe you're doing a little more than the responsibilities were outlined, but in that scenario, in most companies, the raise that you typically get in a year is like 1, 2, 3%, right? It's just to kind of match inflation. And yeah, I mean, you have to ask yourself, just because you stay at a company doesn't necessarily mean you deserve a big fat raise. I think there's something to be said about loyalty. I think there's maybe like a 3% raise a year, that type of thing. But to get exceptional raises, you have to do exceptional things, and you have to have exceptional performance. Jumping 60% in a year, okay, if you keep doing that 60%, 60%, eventually it's gonna become a very high number. So you just got, I remember reading a book, Linchpin, when I was younger, about 22 years old or so, from Seth Godin. And the entire concept of Linchpin is making yourself indispensable. How do you make yourself indispensable? You don't become indispensable by saying, I deserve this because blah, 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 blah. Like, at the end of the day, sure, your employer might care about you a little bit, but they care about themselves more. So if you come, again, with the position of, I'm going to be helpful and I'm going to make this such a sweet pitch, such a no-brainer deal, that they're going to be forced to give me that raise. And if they're not willing to give you a raise at that point, then you should consider firing them as your employer. Okay, because that's not good. Because if they can't even see that, that shows how not smart they are. And if you actually see something within the industry and you think you can do a better job, that's where you've proven that you're a high performer. You go start a business. Okay, again, I said in the very beginning of this video, you want to have uncapped potential. you go start a business, okay, or you be an exceptional salesperson, or you go join a startup early where you can get a good chunk of equity and you think it's going to take off, you think it's going to be the next, I don't know, Amazon or Facebook, you go do that. You're going to do really well, okay? But at the end of the day, it's all about the value that you provide, and I'll give you the quote again. Help others get what they want, and you'll get anything that you want. It's such a simple formula. And forget about being emotional. Forget about pouting. Forget about just, throwing a hissy fit. Don't do that, because it's really easy to see from a mile away. And part of me, the reason I'm making this video too, is to show this to everyone else, perhaps everyone else that we employ in the future. It's just, this is how it is. This is how you negotiate a massive raise. You provide value, you make a good business case for it, and then it should be a no-brainer business case. Boom, you are good to go. If you're not happy, if you want uncapped upside, go do sales, go join a startup as an early employee, or go start your own business. That is how you play the game, all right? So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know through podcast. Leave a review. Let me know what you think about that as well. And that is it for today. And we'll see you another time.